Eastman Kodak Company, once a dominant force in the photography industry, faced decline due to its hesitation to embrace digital photography, despite inventing the first digital camera. Founded by George Eastman in 1888, Kodak revolutionized the industry with its easy-to-use cameras and affordable film. However, by the early 21st century, Kodak's failure to adapt to the digital revolution led to its downfall. This case study explores Kodak's journey, highlighting its failure to adapt to changing market dynamics and its subsequent bankruptcy in 2012. The story of Kodak serves as a lesson in resilience, demonstrating the importance of agility and foresight in today's fast-paced business environment. Kodak, a name once synonymous with capturing life's precious moments. In its heyday, they held over 90% of the US film market. But behind the smiles and snapshots lies a story of a corporate giant that stumbled, and its ongoing fight for reinvention. Their struggles provide an example of how a lack of resilience can lead to decline, and the strategies one iconic brand employs to rise again. Kodak's ascent in the photography industry was marked by its innovative approach to making photography accessible to the general public. The introduction of the Kodak Brownie camera in 1900 was a game changer, offering an affordable and simple way for people to take photographs. This democratization of photography, coupled with Kodak's development of the color film process in the 1930s, cemented its position as a leader in the photographic film market. Kodak's business model, famously encapsulated in the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," was instrumental in building a culture of photography among the masses. The tagline "Kodak Moment" became a pop culture icon. However, the seeds of Kodak's future challenges were sown by its very own innovations. In 1975, Kodak engineer Steve Sasson invented the first digital camera, a device that captured images using a CCD sensor and stored them digitally. This invention marked the birth of digital photography, but Kodak was hesitant to embrace this new technology fully. The company's leadership feared that digital photography would cannibalize its lucrative film business, leading to a cautious approach that prioritized film over digital innovation. This period was crucial in setting the stage for Kodak's decline. While Kodak continued to dominate the film photography market, the world was slowly moving towards digital. Other companies, unburdened by the legacy of a film business, were free to innovate and develop digital photography technologies. Kodak's initial resistance to fully commit to digital, despite its pioneering work, is a pivotal aspect of its history that underscores the complexities of navigating technological shifts within established industries. Kodak's downfall can be traced back to several critical errors in judgment and strategy, primarily revolving around its handling of digital photography's emergence. These mistakes collectively contributed to the company's decline, underscoring the challenges established corporations face when confronting disruptive technologies. Failure to adapt to digital photography. Despite inventing the first digital camera, Kodak did not fully commit to digital photography. The company's executives were fixated on the profitability of the film market and viewed digital as a threat rather than an opportunity. This hesitation allowed competitors to take the lead in the digital space, eroding Kodak's market share. Overconfidence in the film market. Kodak's leadership was overly confident in the continued dominance of film photography, underestimating the speed at which consumers would switch to digital. This overconfidence was partly due to the company's historical success and the ingrained belief that the quality of digital photography could not match that of film. Inadequate response to digital trends. When Kodak finally decided to enter the digital photography market, its efforts were too little, too late. The digital cameras it produced were often seen as behind the curve in terms of innovation and features compared to offerings from competitors. Additionally, Kodak failed to integrate digital photography into a cohesive business strategy that leveraged its brand strength and existing customer base. These key mistakes highlight a broader issue of corporate inertia and the difficulty of pivoting an established business model in response to technological innovation. Kodak's reluctance to embrace digital photography, despite having the necessary technology and resources, exemplifies the dangers of clinging to past successes in the face of a rapidly changing market landscape. Kodak's journey from industry leader to a case study in missed opportunities is marked by a series of strategic missteps that exacerbated its decline. These missteps reflect deeper issues within the company's approach to innovation, decision-making, and market strategy. Kodak invested heavily in preserving its film business, diverting resources away from potential growth areas in digital technologies. This included spending on marketing campaigns to promote film photography and investing in new film products at a time when the market was clearly shifting towards digital. Although Kodak did eventually invest in digital photography, its efforts were scattered and lacked a coherent strategy. The company spread its resources thin across various digital imaging technologies without a clear focus or understanding of the consumer market. This dilution of effort prevented Kodak from becoming a strong competitor in the digital camera market. Leadership at Kodak was often criticized for being slow to respond to market changes and for making decisions based on outdated assumptions about the photography industry. There was a significant resistance to change within the company, with many executives believing that the digital photography trend would not last, or that it would not significantly impact Kodak's film business. Kodak had a powerful brand and a dominant position in the photography market, which it could have leveraged to lead the transition to digital photography. However, the company failed to use its brand effectively to promote its digital products, and it did not adequately address the needs and preferences of the digital photography consumer. These strategic missteps paint a picture of a company that was unable to adapt its strategy and operations to the realities of a new technological era. Kodak's inability to pivot from its established film business to the emerging digital market was not just a result of external pressures, but also internal failings in strategy, leadership, and vision. After faltering, Kodak cast a wide net. They looked to expand into new industries, considering pharmaceuticals and printing, but their attempts never took off. CEO Antonio Perez admitted, "The biggest challenge has been instilling an outsider's sense of urgency." They lacked the resilience and focus to reinvent themselves in response to a changing market. The consequences of Kodak's downfall were far-reaching, impacting not only the company's financial health, but also its position in the photography market and the broader business landscape. Kodak's failure to adapt to digital photography led to significant financial distress. The company's revenues and market share plummeted as digital photography became mainstream. In 2007, iPhone sales disrupted the market, while Kodak's stock was at $26. 5 years later, it was below $1. By 2012, unable to recover from its losses and mismanagement, Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. This marked a dramatic fall from grace for a company that had once been synonymous with photography. Post-bankruptcy, Kodak attempted to reinvent itself by focusing on digital technologies, including digital printing and imaging technologies for businesses. While these efforts allowed Kodak to emerge from bankruptcy and continue operations, the company never regained its former dominance. The Kodak of today is a much smaller entity, focused primarily on niche markets and specialized imaging products. Kodak's attempt at a comeback after its bankruptcy filing in 2012 is a story of transformation and adaptation, albeit with mixed results. The company's efforts to reinvent itself and regain relevance in a drastically changed market landscape offer valuable insights into corporate resilience and strategic redirection. Kodak emerged from bankruptcy in 2013, significantly downsized and focused on its commercial imaging businesses, including digital printing and enterprise services. The company sold off many of its patents and non-core businesses to streamline operations and generate revenue to pay off creditors. Kodak ventured deeper into advanced materials and chemicals, leveraging its expertise in coating and film technologies. This includes efforts in the functional printing arena, like touchscreen sensors and organic light-emitting diode (OLED) materials. Despite the digital shift, Kodak continues to manufacture film stock for motion pictures, betting on the niche market of filmmakers who prefer the aesthetic of shooting on film. Partnerships with major Hollywood studios and the resurgence of interest in analog photography have provided some stability. Kodak's financial performance in the years following bankruptcy has been uneven, with the company struggling to achieve sustained profitability and growth amidst intense competition and rapid technological change. Kodak's story is often cited as a cautionary tale about the importance of innovation, adaptability, and the dangers of complacency in the face of technological change. The company's downfall serves as a reminder that even the most dominant market leaders can quickly become obsolete if they fail to recognize and respond to disruptive technologies. For other companies, Kodak's experience underscores the need to continually evaluate market trends, invest in innovation, and be willing to pivot business models in response to an ever-evolving technological climate. Change is not just adapting, it's also anticipating. Kodak teaches us that in this modern, fast-paced market, companies cannot hesitate when market winds shift. Kodak's path forward involves continuous innovation and finding niches where its technological capabilities can be leveraged effectively. The company has also started to focus on sustainability, looking into environmentally friendly printing technologies and materials. Kodak's comeback story is nuanced. While it hasn't reclaimed its former glory, the company has made significant strides in transforming itself in response to the failures that led to its bankruptcy. Kodak's journey underscores the challenges of adapting to technological disruptions and the importance of innovation and strategic shifts in ensuring corporate survival. The company's future success will likely depend on its ability to capitalize on its strengths in imaging and materials science, while effectively navigating the fast-evolving digital landscape. So the question remains, will Kodak fully re-emerge? Their story is a reminder that success isn't built solely on the past, but on finding new ground while learning from old setbacks. The world of business moves fast. Organizations must be resilient, agile, and ready to reinvent themselves, because the next chapter is often the most unexpected.